Hello everybody, it's vanburman here and welcome to another video today. I just want to sort of do a follow-up on my Nintendo Switch video, in which I thought I was actually quite diplomatic. I actually sort of tried to make points either way. I thought I was quite down the line, but just the fact that I didn't like it. Anyway, some people disagree because some people love Nintendo unwaveringly, but there you go. Now, something that's been released that some people thought was going to happen and are disappointed in that is that the Nintendo Switch was going to offer backwards compatibility. And I have to say, just on a note from my perspective, I never thought that it would get any sort of backwards compatibility. That wasn't something I even envisaged happening. Didn't think it was going to get Wii support, Wii U support. Obviously, there's no disk drive, it's cartridge based. And I hadn't actually thought about the idea of it being 3DS compatible, but obviously, as it's mobile and everything, I think that's probably the more reasonable of the backward compatibility argument. The fact that it might well have 3DS compatibility. Like I say, not something I thought that would happen, but looking on it, I could understand why other people would think that. Anyway, Nintendo have come out and totally squashed any chances of there being backward compatibility. Now, this is what I want to talk about overall. I'm not really talking about the Switch. I'm talking about backwards compatibility in general. Now, we'll start off with the best example, and that is PC. Obviously, on PC, you've got all your emulators and everything like that anyway. So, if I want to go and play Crash Bandicoot, yeah, okay, take me I have to invest time in sorting out that to play, but I don't have to invest any money or deal with any, BS really. I can download an emulator, find a ROM, and play it. Okay, easy peasy. Now, one of the things I really liked about the PlayStation, when the PlayStation 3 was out, is that Sony on the PlayStation Store started doing PlayStation 1 classics, and I think they moved on to doing some PlayStation 2 games as well, although from what I gather the library for the PlayStation 2 games was nowhere near as good as what it was for the PlayStation 1. So I actually bought a couple of PlayStation 1 games. I bought Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Crash Bandicoot, the first one, and Crash Team Racing, and Future Cop LAPD. So I spent a decent amount of money buying these games. Now, most of them were on sale, admittedly, but the Final Fantasy ones are about £7 and the rest of them were about £3 each. So, not a lot of money to invest to play retro games. I was more than happy to do that, to be able to play my PlayStation 1 games again, to relive Crash Bandicoot and all of that. And Future Cop, by the way, which is an amazing game and massively overlooked for whatever reason. And then I got rid of my PlayStation 3 when I felt that, it was coming to an end at that point. They were sort of announced the PlayStation 4. We knew it was coming out in the next year. So I just thought that was the right time to give my PlayStation 3. I hardly ever used it. And then I got a new job and moved. And a lot of the people that I worked with played on PlayStation 4. Now, I thought, okay, well, that's fine. I don't have a PlayStation. I just game on my PC now. So, to play with them, I'm happy to, go out and get a PlayStation 4. And I was quite excited because I thought, I'll be able to play all that content that I have bought that is purely online. All of those PlayStation 1 classics were purely online. I had a Vita before, I could play it on that. I had a PSP, I could play it on that. And then I bought the PlayStation 4, and lo and behold, there's absolutely no option to download any of that stuff. There's no even online backward compatibility. And that was the point I wanted to make, that I understand the physical media side of things. Different games are made for a specific console and made for a specific set of hardware, but when you've got the software there and you've adapted it on into an online platform and on your digital only download, then why on earth can I not play my PlayStation 1 games that I've bought on the PlayStation Store on my PlayStation 4? And that really rubbed me up the wrong way. And I think that the major companies, the major players, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, need to make a commitment to making sure that all this downloadable stuff is backwards compatible. I think that way you would get a lot less backlash when it comes to the fact that your physical media doesn't do it. like being able to, for example, you have to sort of read Blu-rays and DVDs. I'm not sure what sort of an issue that is, or what sort of an issue having the downloadable content to work. But the thing about PCs is the architecture's never changed. Obviously we went from 32-bit to 64-bit, and I have to say, the issue with most really old games for PC is that they were designed for 16-bit, and it's, from what I gather, from what I've read, or from what some game companies have told me, it's difficult for those games, the 8-bit, 16-bit, to get them run effectively on 64. It takes a lot of adaptation. It takes time and money and development to be able to do that. One of my favourite games, Operation Inner Space, does not run on 64-bit systems. Now, of course, there are ways around it. On PC, there's pretty much always a way around it. So for me, I have to download a VirtualBox, so basically emulate running Windows 95, Windows 98, anything that is, or I could even do XP, for example, anything that's older that that was a 32-bit or below system. So that's the way I would have to play that particular game. Now, of course, there's no option with anything. Like, if I wanted to go back and play those PlayStation 1 games that I'd already bought, I'd have to go back out and buy another PlayStation 3. Whereas what I'm more likely to do? Well, if I wanted to play them myself, obviously, I would just use an emulator. I would just download an emulator and play it on there, on the PC. I can still use console, and yeah, okay, you might say it takes a bit more setting up than just buying a PlayStation 3, but I don't have to go out and re-buy another PlayStation 3, for example. But there you go. Anyway, just thought I'd give you my 2 cents on it. I don't really know how the Nintendo fans are going to react to that particular news. I personally didn't see it as a shock. I didn't see it actually as an issue at all, to be honest with you. I know the backwards compatibility is something that a lot of people get upset about whenever new consoles come out. It's one of those first questions after they've delved into the other aspects of a console. It's, well, will I be able to play my old games, or do I have to keep the console that is now obsolete? I think purely from my standpoint, overall, I feel like it makes PC more and more attractive. The fact that you can go back and play any game, games can be developed to run on any platform. And it's just whether the developers want to go back and do that and want to adapt it for, well, it works on the PlayStation 3, what have I got to do to make sure this works on the PlayStation 4? I do feel like Sony will eventually do what I've said. It's just the fact that it wasn't there when I bought my PlayStation 4. It was a bit like, right, well, I paid for this content on your platform, and now I can't use it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I think my voice is starting to go. That's a bit weird. And yeah, I'll see you all very soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.